Have you ever caught yourself wondering, what is he even doing right now? One minute he's texting non-stop, the next radio silence. He makes a weird joke, avoids eye contact, then suddenly offers to help you move a couch. Yeah, it's confusing. But here's the thing. When a guy is into you, he often doesn't act in ways that make obvious sense. In fact, attraction can make guys behave downright weird, but not random. There's a reason behind almost every odd move, and today we're decoding exactly what those weird signs really mean. Welcome to the video. Today we're diving into the 6 weird things guys do when they like you that no one talks about, but every girl needs to know. These aren't your typical "he's flirting" or "he compliments your smile" kind of signs. I'm talking about things that seem completely out of character, like sudden awkwardness, weird flexes, overcompensating, or even picking fake fights with you. It's not immaturity, it's subconscious attraction in action. Why do they get so weird? Simple guys often struggle to express emotions directly, especially if they're afraid of rejection or unsure if you feel the same. So instead of saying "I like you," they might tease you, act aloof, or even say something weird just to get your attention. But here's the twist. If you know what to look for, these weird things become crystal clear signs that he's crushing hard. So grab a notebook or just mentally keep track, because the next few minutes might completely change how you see that guy in your life. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about something super confusing, but way more common than you'd think. When a guy teases you out of nowhere. Like, why is he making fun of your coffee order, your playlist, or the way you laugh? And why does it somehow feel like a compliment wrapped in sarcasm? Here's the truth. Random teasing is rarely random when it comes from a guy who's into you. In fact, it's one of the weirdest but strongest signs that you've caught his attention in a real way. Let me ask you, has a guy ever made a joke at your expense, then quickly added, "I'm kidding," with that little nervous grin? That moment right there, that's not just a joke, that's him flirting but with training wheels. Because instead of just saying, "Hey, I like you," he's throwing out little jabs to see if you'll play along or shut him down. He's testing the vibe. It's like emotional fishing. He tosses the line out with a joke and watches your reaction very closely. If you laugh, tease him back, or even roll your eyes in that "you're so annoying" way, he's winning. You've engaged. And now he knows there's a connection building. And don't miss this, guys who tease you in ways they don't tease anyone else. That's a huge clue. You're not just part of his social circle, you're standing out. If you notice he's suddenly a little extra around you, dropping more sarcasm, more inside jokes, more commentary on things no one else notices. Girl, he's not just being funny, he's dialing in on you. What's wild is that this behavior can feel immature or even kind of annoying at first. But when you peel it back, it's actually a subtle form of vulnerability. It takes guts to tease someone you like. It's risky. What if you take it the wrong way? What if you don't laugh? But if you do, now he feels safer to keep engaging. Here's something you can do. Pay attention to how he reacts after the tease. Does he look away nervously? Laugh a little too hard? Try to over-explain himself after? That awkwardness is a sign he cares how you feel about what he said. He wants to impress you, but he's too nervous to be direct. So he covers it with humor. And hey, quick question for you. What's the weirdest thing a guy's ever teased you about? Drop it in the comments right now. I'm seriously curious, and I bet you're not alone. So yeah, random teasing. Not so random, not so harmless. It's playful, yes, but it's intentional. If he's teasing you more than he does with others, or it feels oddly specific to you, there's something there. But stay with me, because up next is a sign that's so subtle, it often gets misread as disinterest. Let's talk about when a guy starts acting way too chill. Now this next sign is so confusing that most people miss it completely. In fact, you might have already written off a guy who was actually into you just because he acted too chill. Let's break it down. You're hanging out, maybe texting here and there, and he's just super laid back. He doesn't flirt like other guys. He doesn't make big moves. He's polite, cool, maybe even a little distant. So naturally, you assume he's not interested. But here's the twist. Sometimes when a guy is really into you, he'll go out of his way to act unbothered. Crazy, right? But it makes sense when you think about it. Guys aren't always taught how to express interest in a healthy, direct way. So when the feelings get strong, like really strong. Some guys go into what I call emotional lockdown mode. It's like their internal voice is saying, play it cool, don't mess this up, don't seem desperate. So instead of making a move, he pulls back. He tries to look unfazed, smooth, almost aloof. He wants to seem uninterested, but only because he's too interested. That false calm, that's fear of rejection dressed up as confidence. Here's what makes this sign so weird. It's not about what he does, it's about what he doesn't do. He doesn't text first all the time, doesn't get flirty, doesn't get too personal too fast, but he's always around, watching your stories, liking your posts, asking subtle questions, offering help when you least expect it. He's there, just not in the way you were looking for. And that's where most people give up. But you shouldn't, because if you match his energy by being overly chill too, the connection just sits there, going nowhere. Want to test the waters? Here's a little trick. Break the ice first. Try making a light, playful comment, and see if he opens up more. If he suddenly warms up, jokes back, or texts more often after that, yep, that cool guy routine was just a front. He wanted to be closer but didn't know how. Oh, and watch his body language. Is he chill but his legs bouncing under the table? Does he stay quiet but zone in when you talk? That's nervous energy, not indifference. Now I want to hear from you. Be honest. Have you ever thought a guy didn't like you, only to find out later he was totally into you? Drop your story in the comments, because I guarantee someone else has been through the same thing. Bottom line, acting overly chill isn't always a lack of interest. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. It's a guy trying so hard to look casual that he accidentally comes off cold. But now that you know what to look for, you'll start noticing the signals hidden beneath that calm exterior. Stick around, because the next sign is even more revealing, and it has to do with something you'll spot in his eyes the moment he sees you. Okay, so let's talk about a sign that catches almost everyone off guard when a guy suddenly goes shy around you. And I don't mean shy like he's quiet all the time. I mean the kind of shyness that only shows up when you walk into the room. Here's how it usually plays out. You're around a guy who's confident, chill, maybe even a little loud when he's with his friends. He's joking, laughing, talking to everyone. But the moment you step into the space, his vibe shifts. He gets quieter, less eye contact, fidgety, like he suddenly forgot how to be a functioning human. That change? That's not a coincidence. That's emotional short-circuiting. AK, he's into you and doesn't know what to do with those feelings. See, a lot of guys who seem confident aren't always emotionally confident. They're fine in social settings, but the second their feelings get involved, it's like someone pulled the emergency brake on their personality. He wants to say something cool or clever, but his brain goes blank. He wants to seem relaxed, but now he's hyper aware of how he's standing, what his hands are doing. If he's blinking too much, it's low-key adorable, but it's also a huge sign that you've got him in his head. And here's where it gets even more interesting. You might think he's being cold or avoiding you, but in reality he's just overwhelmed. The fear of saying the wrong thing or looking too eager can actually paralyze a guy who's crushing hard. So he says nothing at all, and from the outside it looks like disinterest. But inside, he's basically screaming into a pillow. If you notice a guy who's outgoing with everyone else but suddenly quiet, nervous, or awkward around you specifically, that contrast is the giveaway. That's not his personality. That's your effect on him. So what can you do with that information? Here's a little tip. Create a low-pressure moment. Say something casual, no big setup. Ask a quick question or compliment his shirt or his playlist. Something that gives him a safe opening to talk. You'll be surprised how fast that nervous energy melts once he feels like you're approachable and not judging him. Oh, and let's bring it to the comments for a second. Have you ever seen a guy totally freeze up around you, but act completely normal around everyone else? Tell me your story. I promise you're not imagining it, and you're definitely not alone. Sudden shyness isn't just a mood swing. It's a micro-reaction to real feelings. It's one of those involuntary things that slips through the cracks no matter how hard he tries to hide it. And once you recognize it for what it is, it's kind of sweet and kind of powerful. Now get ready, because the next sign is going to surprise you. It's bold, it's emotional, and it usually shows up when you're not even watching. Let's go. Okay, this one is messy, confusing, and honestly kind of revealing in the most unexpected way. Jealous reactions. Now listen, I know jealousy can be a red flag if it turns controlling or toxic. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're focusing on is that weird subtle shift some guys go through when another guy enters the picture or even mentions your name. Let me paint the scene. You're telling a story and you casually mention hanging out with a guy friend. You're not trying to stir anything, just talking. But then he changes. His tone shifts. He suddenly goes quiet or sarcastic. Maybe he says something like, "Oh, so that guy's your new best friend now," and laughs it off. But it's clearly not just a joke. That's not nothing. That's jealousy, low-key, undercover, totally unspoken, but very real. What's happening here is this. When a guy likes you but hasn't made a move or isn't sure how you feel, he's living in this emotional limbo. And then suddenly the idea of another guy taking that spot, boom, his emotional security cracks a little. So he reacts. He might try to shrug it off, change the subject, or poke fun at whoever you mentioned. But underneath it, he's rattled. And here's the key. Jealousy doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's super subtle, like he stops texting as much, or he forgets to like your latest post, or he suddenly acts cold when you're around. But it almost always happens after he sees or hears something that triggers a competitive instinct. And if he's not the kind of guy who normally gets jealous easily, even better. Because when that kind of guy shows it, it means you've struck a nerve. So what should you do if you notice this happening? Honestly, don't call him out right away. That can embarrass him and push him further into defense mode. Instead, just take mental notes. Observe the pattern. Did his mood shift when someone else's name came up? Did he suddenly get extra funny or dismissive? That tension you're feeling isn't your imagination, it's a reaction. A possessive one. And it's very telling. Now let's make this interactive. Be honest, have you ever noticed a guy acting differently when another guy gave you attention? Or better yet, did a guy ever try to compete for your attention in subtle ways? Drop your experience in the comments. I promise you're not the only one who's seen this kind of weird behavior. Here's the bottom line. Jealousy, when it's subtle and situational, often says what words won't. He might not admit he likes you, but when another guy enters the picture, his reactions speak volumes. And trust me, the next sign is even more awkward, because it's about compliments and how guys mess them up completely. Let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about something that should be simple. But guys somehow manage to make it weird every single time. Awkward compliments. Now in theory, complimenting someone is easy, right? You look great, you're smart. I like your vibe. But when a guy likes you and isn't sure how to say it, or is trying not to make it too obvious, his compliments get weird, like weird. Instead of just saying, "You look pretty," he'll say something like, "Wow, you actually clean up pretty well." Excuse me? What does that even mean? Or maybe he'll compliment your outfit by saying it's interesting. Or he'll tell you your laugh is so loud but kinda cute though. It's like he's trying to give you praise and roast you at the same time. That's not shade. It's shy flirting. Here's what's really happening. His brain is battling itself. One side wants to say something nice, meaningful, even romantic. The other side panics and says, "Wait, don't be too direct, play it cool." So the result is this clumsy mixed message compliment that makes you go, "Thanks." And here's the fun part. If he's normally smooth with everyone else, but gets awkward around you specifically, that's your sign. It's not about what he says, it's about how hard he's trying not to mess it up. His voice might crack, he'll avoid eye contact, or he'll say the compliment, then immediately try to change the subject like, "Anyway, did you see that thing on TikTok?" Like, sir, what was that emotional roller coaster? Let's also talk about those hyper-specific compliments that catch you off guard. Like he randomly says, "That color looks really good on you," or "I like your energy today." Those aren't recycled lines. That's him noticing the little things about you and blurting it out before he can second guess himself. That kind of detail. Yeah, he's watching closely, closer than you think. And sometimes, he won't even say the compliment out loud. He might just stare a little longer, smile for no reason, or look at you like he wants to say something, but doesn't. That's silence. It's loud, because in that moment he's too nervous to speak. But the compliment is right there behind his eyes. So here's your move. If he gives you an awkward compliment, lean into it a little, smile, play along, even tease him back. Was that a compliment or an insult? That playful response tells him you're open to the connection, and boom, he loosens up instantly. Now I want to know, what's the weirdest compliment a guy has ever given you? Comment it below, because we need to share these. I promise, someone else has heard the exact same kind of nonsense. Bottom line, if a guy gives you a compliment that's oddly timed, clumsy, or wrapped in sarcasm, that's his interest slipping out, even if he's not ready to admit it yet. Up next, a sign that's all ego, timing, and low-key hilarious, when he starts subtly showing off. Let's go. Now I know what you're thinking. Guys show off all the time. What's new? But I'm not talking about obvious flexes, like revving his car engine or telling you how much he can bench press. I'm talking about the undercover, low-key, almost accidental kind of showing off that only happens when you're in the room. Let's break it down. Have you ever noticed a guy suddenly talking a little louder when you walk by? Or maybe he casually brings up that promotion he got, how little sleep he runs on, or how he just helped a friend move over the weekend. No big deal. That's not just conversation. That's a performance for you. And here's the kicker. He probably doesn't even realize he's doing it. It's instinctual. When a guy's into you but isn't ready to say it, he'll often try to prove it first by quietly positioning himself as the guy you should notice. The weird part? It's not always flashy. Sometimes it's the way he suddenly starts fixing his posture, deepening his voice, or throwing out random facts like he's auditioning for Jeopardy. Did you know octopuses have 3 hearts? No sir, but thanks for the marine biology trivia, I guess. And this subtle flexing gets even more obvious when there's competition. If another guy starts talking to you, watch him. He might laugh louder, stand a little closer, or suddenly jump into the conversation with a funny story from the gym work or that one time he saved a cat from a tree. It's his way of saying, hey, I'm here, I'm valuable, pick me. And let's not forget the social media show-offs. If he starts posting more selfies, stories of him at the gym, or humble brag captions right after you start interacting with him online, yep, he's putting on a digital flex. Because even if he's not directly messaging you, he wants you watching. Now here's your audience check-in moment. Have you ever seen a guy randomly try to impress you in a way that made no sense at the time, but now it totally clicks? Like he suddenly turned into a TED Talk machine the moment you walked in? If yes, tell me everything in the comments. I live for those stories. The big takeaway here, subtle showing off isn't always ego. It's often attraction with training wheels. It's his attempt to show his value without saying, hey, I like you, and I'm nervous about it. So if a guy starts acting like he's casually performing, just know you're the audience he's performing for. He may not realize it yet, but that extra energy, it's all for your attention. And trust me, up next is something you do not want to miss, because it's the one signal that's so obvious, but we tend to overlook it completely. Let's dive into the bonus tip. You're gonna love this one. Alright, you've made it this far. And now I'm about to drop the ultimate secret. The number one giveaway that a guy is into you, even when he's trying really hard to hide it. Here's the deal. While all the signs we talked about are telling, there's one behavior that's so natural, so unconscious, it's basically impossible to fake. It's subtle, yet it screams interest louder than words ever could. What is it? Eye contact. Yep, eye contact might sound simple, but trust me, it's a game changer. When a guy likes you, his eyes don't just glance your way, they seek you out. He'll catch your gaze, hold it a moment longer than usual, maybe even smile without saying a word. This isn't just about looking at someone. It's about what happens behind that look. His pupils might dilate, science alert. That happens when someone's attracted. He might blink less, his head might tilt slightly, or he might quickly look away if he's shy, but then sneak another peek. And here's what makes eye contact the #1 secret giveaway. It's involuntary. Unlike words or gestures, which he can control, the way his eyes behave when he's interested usually slips out naturally. Even the most guarded guy struggles to hide it. But here's a little nuance that many people miss. It's not just about staring non-stop. That's creepy, right? It's about the rhythm and timing. The quick glances, the subtle checks, the fleeting moments of connection that happen repeatedly throughout a conversation, or when you're just in the same room. Now, why does this matter so much? Because eyes communicate emotions faster and deeper than words ever could. If you're ever unsure about a guy's intentions, watch his eyes. They tell you what he feels before he's even ready to admit it to himself. And if you want to test this out, try it yourself. Hold his gaze just a little longer and watch how he reacts. Does he hold it back? Does he smile? Does he look away nervously? Those little reactions, gold. Okay, here's a quick challenge for you. Think about the last time you caught a guy looking at you like this. How did it make you feel? Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about those magical moments that speak louder than words. So to sum up, all the weird teasing, chill vibes, sudden shyness, jealousy, awkward compliments, and subtle showing off. They're all hints, but eye contact is the crystal clear sign that he's really into you. Alright, we're coming to the end of this video, but before you go, let me leave you with some final thoughts, and most importantly, what you should do next if you've spotted these weird signs from a guy. First off, if you recognized one or more of these behaviors in someone you know, congratulations, you're already ahead of most people when it comes to reading between the lines. Understanding these subtle cues can save you a lot of confusion and missed opportunities. Remember, guys don't always show their interest in obvious ways. Sometimes it's weird, awkward, or downright confusing. But that doesn't mean it's not real. These 6 weird signs we covered, from random teasing and acting overly chill, to sudden shyness, jealous reactions, awkward compliments, and subtle showing off, are all part of the puzzle. Here's the key takeaway. Don't overthink or jump to conclusions. These signs are clues, not guarantees. Everyone expresses themselves differently. Some guys might show one sign, some might show all 6, and some might just be naturally quirky. So what should you do next? Start by paying close attention to his behavior over time, not just in one moment. Look for patterns. Is he consistently teasing you? Does he often get shy around you but not others? Does he show jealousy or try to impress you subtly? Those repeated signals matter. Next, don't be afraid to test the waters. If you want to see if his feelings are real, try gently initiating more interaction. Send a playful text, invite him to hang out, or give him a compliment and watch how he responds. This will help you see if he's interested and willing to open up. Also, be honest with yourself about how you feel. Are you interested too? Because attraction works both ways. If you're into him, these signs can be a green light to move forward. But if you're unsure, take it slow. Don't rush or force anything. Finally, remember that communication is everything. When you feel ready, try having a clear, honest conversation with him. It might feel scary, but it's the best way to avoid misunderstandings and build a real connection. So that's it. Now it's your turn. If you learned something new, drop a comment below sharing which sign surprised you the most. And if you want more videos like this, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the weirdest signs are the most meaningful.